man wakes up. He doesn't know his name. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know why there are robot arms hovering over him, or why there are two corpses in the room. This is the opening of Project Hail Mary, and if you've heard about this book, or seen the trailers for the Ryan Gosling film, and you think this is just another smart man trapped in space story, you're only seeing the surface. You don't. Here's what's interesting about Project Hail Mary. The readers who love it most are not obsessed with the science. They're obsessed with what the science unexpectedly becomes. And we'll get to that. But first, let's talk about what this book actually is. Project Hail Mary is a 2021 science fiction novel by Andy Weir, the same author who wrote The Martian. It became a major bestseller, won Goodreads' 2021 award for Best Science Fiction, and has built the kind of reader reputation most sci-fi novels never reach. The audiobook, narrated by Ray Porter, also became a huge part of the book's popularity. And with a Ryan Gosling film adaptation bringing it to an even wider audience, Project Hail Mary is no longer just a sci-fi favorite. It is a mainstream phenomenon. So yes, this book has reached a lot of people, but not all of them agree on why. Here's the premise. Ryland Grace, a middle school science teacher with a quiet past in molecular biology, wakes up on a spacecraft. He has no memory of his name, no memory of his mission, no memory of how he got there. What he does find: two dead crewmates, robot arms, and a computer asking him to do maths. As his memories return in fragments, through flashback sequences woven into the present-day story, Grace begins to piece together the truth. Earth is dying. A microscopic organism called astrophage is consuming the sun's energy, slowly, steadily, catastrophically. And somewhere, in a solar system 11 light-years away, there may be an answer. Grace is the last chance. A one-way mission, no guarantee of return. And then the official synopsis drops one tiny line that changes the entire shape of the story. And with the clock ticking down, and the nearest human being light-years away, he's got to do it all alone. Or does he? 2 words. That's all the official description gives you. And those 2 words are, apparently, the reason this book has made thousands of readers cry. If you've read The Martian, you already have a rough map of the experience. Fast, funny, lonely, strangely hopeful. Science-heavy, yes, but never cold. A deeply competent, self-deprecating protagonist who solves problems and makes jokes at the worst possible moments. Weir's voice is immediately recognizable, conversational, enthusiastic, almost too cheerful for a story about human extinction. Multiple reviewers describe the reading experience as infectious, that Weir's own obvious love of science pulls you along whether you care about molecular biology or not. George R.R. Martin called it exactly what it is in his blurb: old-school science fiction, optimistic at its core, where smart people use knowledge to solve impossible problems. The 2-timeline structure, Grace in space now, and flashback sequences showing how Earth reached the brink, gives the book a rhythm that keeps it moving. And that audiobook? If you're an audiobook reader, multiple people say Ray Porter's performance is one of the best narrator-to-material matches they've ever encountered. Here's where the reviews get interesting. When readers praise Project Hail Mary, they rarely lead with the plot. They lead with the feeling. The joy, the childlike excitement when Grace figures something out, the sense of watching a genuinely curious mind at work. Blake Crouch, author of Dark Matter and Recursion, called it, undisputedly, the best book I've read in a very, very long time. He said he cheered, laughed, and cried. And when, in his words, the twist arrived and the book revealed its true target, his jaw hit the floor. Kirkus Reviews gave it a starred review and described it as an unforgettable story of survival and the power of friendship. That phrase matters, because this is where the book quietly stops being only about survival and starts becoming something much harder to describe without spoiling it. This is where the book becomes surprisingly divisive, because there is a significant minority of readers who didn't just dislike this book. They were baffled by the response to it. One heavily discussed negative review on Goodreads describes the human interactions as atrocious, consistent with what critics have said about Weir's earlier work. The argument that Weir doesn't write people, he writes functions of people. Problem solvers with personalities, but not genuine psychological depth. And the similarity to The Martian is a real conversation. Multiple readers flag that the premise, structure, and protagonist's voice are close enough to feel formulaic. One commenter put it bluntly, "I am beyond trying to understand the love for this book. The Martian, I get it. It was somewhat new and original. This one is a cheap caricature." The Washington Independent Review of Books, while ultimately recommending the book, acknowledged that Weir's detractors point out that his writing style leaves much to be desired, his humor is borderline juvenile, and he can be politically preachy. So why does the same book feel life-changing to one reader and unbearable to another? Why is one group weeping and calling it a masterpiece, while another is abandoning it at page 120 and questioning the ratings? Here's the simplest way to understand the divide. Project Hail Mary is not trying to be literary fiction. It is not trying to be psychologically complex. It is trying to make you feel what it's like to be a curious person solving a problem that has never been solved before. And if that exchange works for you, if you're the kind of reader who genuinely enjoys watching someone reason through a scientific puzzle, who finds that process thrilling rather than tedious, this book will feel like a gift. If you're not, it may feel like being trapped in a very long science class with the happiest teacher alive. That's the real divide, not about quality, about what you want fiction to do. There's also this. The readers who love this book most tend to describe a specific moment where the story stops being about plot and becomes about something much more personal. Multiple reviewers reference it as the emotional pivot. Some call it the best friendship in science fiction. Some say it made them cry in public. None of them will tell you exactly what it is, and honestly, that's the right move. If you loved The Martian, this is probably the safest recommendation in modern sci-fi. If you're a science fiction fan who misses the optimistic, ideas-first stories of the genre's golden era, this book was written for you specifically. If you want accessible science fiction that doesn't talk down to you but also doesn't require a physics degree, this works. If you plan to watch the Ryan Gosling film, read the book first if you can. The less you know going in, the better this story works. Several readers have specifically noted, go in knowing as little as possible. If you prefer literary prose, morally ambiguous characters, or sustained emotional dread, this will probably frustrate you. If you've already bounced off Andy Weir once, and your issue was with the voice rather than the genre, this book uses the same voice. That is unlikely to change. Here's the truth about Project Hail Mary. It looks like a survival thriller. One man, deep space, extinction stakes, impossible science. But the readers who can't stop talking about it, they're not talking about the survival. They're talking about a connection. Unexpected, strange, and apparently deeply moving, that the book builds in its second half. The science is the engine, but the emotional connection is the destination. That is why some readers call it one of the most moving sci-fi novels they've ever read. And others think it is wildly overrated. So the real question is this: are you reading for the puzzle? Or are you reading for what the puzzle reveals about the people solving it? Because Project Hail Mary has a very specific answer to that question. And it turns out, for a lot of readers, it was exactly the right one. Have you read Project Hail Mary? Or is this your first time hearing about it after the film came out? Here's what I want to know. Can a book still be great if the prose is simple, the characters are not deeply literary, but the feeling absolutely lands? Or do you need craft and character depth before a book can truly move you? Drop your answer below. I genuinely want to read what you think. And if you've already read it, or you go and read it after this, come back here and tell us what that second half moment actually did to you. No spoilers, just tell us one thing. Did it land, or did people overhype it? Finally, if there's a book you've been meaning to read but you're not sure it's worth your time, drop the title in the comments. If we see the same book mentioned by 5 or more people, that's our next video. Let's build the list. Love books? Subscribe for honest, spoiler-free reviews before you pick your next read. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next book.